All right. So, this is my third day of fasting, and I'm fighting hunger. I've only been able to last 5 days, almost six. And I just want to take this moment to really thank the few listeners that I have. I know I do not have many, and maybe it's because of my presentation, and maybe it's because YouTube and the powers that be don't necessarily like what I say. And I want to welcome Political Woodstock, who is here. She and I have had some interesting conversations, and hopefully we'll get into some more interesting conversations. I don't know if she wants to join me, and I'll put my feelers out there. But I want to say that this is more of a unity. Well, this is just as much about a unity between two people as it is between groups. Okay, it's too loud. Right, and I thought I put a feeler out there. And let me also put it in Discord for Political Woodstock, so bear with me. Bear with me, folks, while I do that. Well, I put an invitation out for both Discord and the other. My Facebook has not been working properly. I do get into discussions with people, and they disagree with it so heavily that they have shut down sometimes a lot of my conversation. And that's just the way it is. There we go. We have Political Woodstock. Political Woodstock. Angela, how are you?
I'm cold today. I'm very cold. The weather's very cold here.
I heard in Oklahoma, it's in Oklahoma, correct?
Correct. I'm in Oklahoma right now, and one man froze to death last night, and he was just literally steps away from a shelter. It's bad.
Does it snow in Oklahoma?
Yes, we're expecting some snow Sunday, and then we're expecting some more snow Tuesday. We've had a lot of ice and a little dusting of snow so far. That's what usually we get. We get an ice storm. Then we should have maybe 4 inches of snow Sunday. Then maybe there'll be a foot on Tuesday. So we'll see.
Now, you're kind of part of the left, and that's kind of different.
Yes.
I'm a bit of a conservative. I'm a moderate, but I'm a right.
Really? Sorry.
Now, I consider you to be kind of moderate left.
I'm a conservative liberal is what I call myself.
Okay, that's and I guess I would be considered moderate right, and maybe to other. I've been angry in the past about what's been going on, but we're talking about unity, and I don't know if there can be unity unless there is a shared reality. Would you agree to that? I'm not hearing from Political Woodstock.
It's better. I keep trying. I think it's my phone. These earbuds, the microphone doesn't work. None of them that I tried.
I hear you now.
Okay. Well,
unfortunately, Political Woodstock has just left, so the conversation. Oh wait, she is back. We have Mandy. We have Mandy. I don't know if Mandy has anything to add, but she is here, and I don't know if she has anything to say about reality. Mandy, are you there? Are you able to speak? Okay, so she's not talking at the moment. She perhaps is just listening. And, the more the merrier.
Yes, I am. I'm just listening. I'm sorry.
And well, you know what, Mandy? If you have anything to add, just say something. But I'll continue on with my short rant.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. And you're not going to have anything. You're not going to have Mandy. You're not going to have anything to add.
I don't, what am I adding? Wait a second. What is the question?
Okay. Can we get to unity if we don't have a shared reality?
It's a good question. I mean, you have to know kind of where everyone's sense of reality is and what they define as unity.
Aw.
Well, they're saying a cat, but can we please go on mute while other people are talking? Or just
Oh, sorry.
no problem, no problem at all. Political Woodstock. Do you have any? Well, I wanted to say that there are groups out there, and there were really bad riots throughout the nation, and people say, there've been a lot of people say that Antifa, they are anti anti-fascist, but can a group be both anti-fascist and authoritarian communist, which many believe Antifa to be? Political Woodstock, we'll go with you, and then we'll go with Mandy if Mandy has any comment.
Well, Antifa has many different factions. Um, I think they're like a big house with, the left wing, right wing type of thinking. Um, that's a complicated answer. Can you rephrase the question?
Well, I think, my opinion is primarily they are rooted in authoritarian communism. Many of them wave communist flags, the hammer and the sickle flag. Is that a group that mainstream society should be getting behind?
They definitely have socialism in their mind. They definitely have revolution in their mind. Um, they're unpredictable, so I would say no because of their unpredictability, their their silence on their activities, what they really believe. They put out feelers for what they believe to get the type of person that they want. And this is coming from my experience. They are organized, though they deny it. And that's from my personal experience. Um, they're not the group I would pick to get behind, but to each their own.
Why has the Democratic Party, and it seems like even the Republican Party, why have they ignored the threat? And also, from my understanding, they're also entrenched in the economy as well. These leftist groups are entrenched in the economy, and they're also part of cancel culture. So they are not only threatening individuals physically, but also economically. And why has the Democratic Party not attacked Antifa more? Like, why does Biden say, "Oh, wait, she's gone"? All right. Well, I was going to ask her, and probably she'll be back. I was going to ask her, why does Biden say that Antifa is just an idea and not a real thing? Anyway, I wonder, Mandy, if you have anything to add. Oh, wait, Political Woodstock is back. So, Political
Sorry.
Wood. Yeah. So, did you hear my question?
I cut out for the last 30 seconds, so I don't know if you had a question there.
Okay. My
And
question
I
is,
missed your response, Mandy. Sorry.
Mandy, Mandy has not had anything to say. So,
Okay, well, I'm going to put my mic on mute so she can speak.
okay. Andy, or
Wait, what was my question again? I'm sorry.
well, do you have anything to add? I mean, like, is there like the conversation that's gone so far? Do you have anything to add to the conversation, like about Antifa and about BLM? Is there any thoughts you have that you want to express?
Um, I guess really is that a lot of that exploded when COVID really kicked off. And I think a lot of it is a result of, people are bored and out of work. And therefore, whenever you have a lot of time on your hands, a lot of people are given that ability then to think about issues that have been going on and to really like dive into it. And, again, it's like when you got nothing else better to do, I just think that before people were distracted with working, that they didn't really focus too much on the social issues that were going on. And do I think it's like a bandwagon that a lot of people have jumped on because they're like, fuck it, we're out of work. We might as well, um, just jump in and start causing chaos because we've got nothing else better to do. I don't entirely know because unlike that, I am quite busy in my day. That's what I focus on. Um, so I guess that's really all I can add to it. I don't honestly follow much of the news. I don't focus on too much of those issues because I'm too concerned with what's going on in Mandy's world and all of that. So um, I guess that's all I can really say about it.
And I'll be honest with you. I do believe that leftism is the biggest threat to the free world. I lived close to, like, where a lot of BLM was. They basically marched down my street, and I found that BLM and Antifa treat their cause like a religion. They had chants like "white silence is violence." And I found it to be a very dangerous movement because it's very authoritarian in nature. You're either with them or you're against them. And it's something that I do not like. And I do not like the fact that the Democratic Party has not ever addressed the authoritarian nature of the left and the authoritarian nature of cancel culture. Um, Political Woodstock, I'll put that to you since you are involved within the Democratic Party, what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I guess it was about 2008, I noticed people at different conventions. Um, how do I say this? In a convention, a political convention, people caucus, like the education caucus. They get together and they talk and decide who's going to go to the next convention and so on. So I'm in a couple of these caucuses back in 2008. And I noticed, there's some writers in my particular group. And they're talking about, I wish there was a socialist group. I joined that party. I mean, and then two others agreed. I'm like, wow, socialism. Of course they're educated and they understand, but I think this began quite some time earlier, back in the 2000s, early 2000s. And I think we need to look at the history of what people were thinking and what their options were. I think now we have more options and the people are speaking. That's what I think. Does that make sense?
To a degree, but it still doesn't answer the question. I mean, like, certainly, I don't think we have more options today. I would disagree with that. I think we have less options today because of the amount of censorship. I mean, to me, the information age has turned into the censorship and punishment age. And again, the fact that the Democratic Party has not addressed, and maybe it's because they're in bed with the left, they have not addressed the issue of the authoritarianism on their side. The right does a better job at it. It doesn't completely ignore the kind of whack jobs that are on the right, but at least it addresses it whereas the Democratic Party does not address their unhinged lunatics on the
Oh, whoa, wait. There's Trump over there. He's the biggest whack job of them all. And they did nothing to try to reel him in, or the faction of Q. We have a lot more options today, belief systems, political systems, that if one decides to choose differently from the norm, which the norm has been Republican and Democrat, a two-party system, basically. And I think as things change, you know, I don't see an authoritarian group in the Democratic Party. Are we trying to reel different groups in that say they're a part of our group? Sure, we are. Sure, we are. But we've had a lot more success than, say, the rotten Republicans.
Well, I mean, it seems to me there were riots. For me, the main reason that I supported, Trump and the conservatives was because I was tired of woke cancel culture. I didn't like the normalization of riots, and I was tired of the lockdowns. I mean, in the authoritarian lockdowns, and it seemed like they were they didn't put any fault on China when China had bought up a lot of our masks and our medical supplies. They did it here and they did it in Australia, and it seemed like everything was about Trump and nothing was about what China did to and the negligence of China. And when you don't see things and you don't see the reality of a threat, that to me is something dangerous. Anyway, I wonder if you political Woodstock and Mandy, if you have anything. You know what? I'm going to go to Mandy if she has anything to add. If not, we'll go to. I'll give her about 3 seconds. If she doesn't, about 3 seconds, and if she doesn't turn off her mic, then we'll go to you, political Woodstock. Mandy. Oh.
Yeah, political Woodstock. What do you have to say about this? I would like to hear your side of it.
I am chomping at the bit. Now, I could understand that a person would be interested in Trump, when they're concerned about cancel culture and, the media is not telling the whole truth, which media never has told the whole truth, ever. So I could see where the appeal was, but Trump was lying to you. He was about being Trump. Now he's about being a dictator, basically. He still has plans to get the presidency back, or he thinks he's never lost it. That's his viewpoint. And that will be on March 6th. Maybe if we talked about the different polarities in political systems, that might be a good show. Because those boundaries, as I explained before, are gone. They've taken the floor out from underneath people. When they talk about, again, that marriage is a social construct, race is a social construct, gender is a social construct, all that skews worldviews, your worldview, your world perspective, whatever label you want to put on it. And I'm getting a little lost in my words now. I'm trying to focus. I had so many thoughts. And go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to, point out a little something personal here about my old man. My dad was part of the Screen Actors Guild, and I remember him talking about in the early 80s, they were talking about how wonderful East Germany was, and there was pushback on that, and there was like, hey man, we're not down with this. And today there is no, the industry was had already gotten kind of left. Today it's gotten worse. It's not just left. because before the left believed in our Constitution and the right to freedom of speech. Now it believes in, hey, we're gonna say what we want to say, and you shut the hell up. And again, both sides do lie. They both are they both are dishonest. I mean, I can point out one form of dishonesty that Trump said. The 1994 crime bill had that he was railing on Biden about, had bipartisan support, and it had a large portion of the Black caucus and a large portion of Black churches supported the 1994 crime bill. So there's a lot of dishonesty on both sides, and I would love to get to a place where we can be just honest with each other and honest about the way we see the world, because there really cannot be unity if there is censorship. And the kind of censorship that the left promotes in this woke capitalism does not promote unity. It really promotes anger and distrust. I'm concluded. Political Woodstock, do you have a response to that?
I fear that when you say the left, people will think Democrats. We are left leaning, yes, but we have rules and procedures and platforms. And we're not all about cancel culture. I think maybe visiting what the Democratic platform and the Republican platform and how they operate might be a good show. But what you're talking about is like QAnon. What you're talking about is Antifa, the two extremes, the one side to the other. And, we have the Democratic Socialist, which is a different political party than being a Democrat. We had the Tea Party. I don't know if it still exists on the right, with the Republicans. They're linked to Republicans. I just think we're at a very tenuous time in our country's existence, the country of the United States of America, and that we need to respect each other more and tolerate other people's views. That doesn't mean that when they infringe on you that you tolerate that, but I'm very concerned, Brian. I'm very concerned, because I hear all these buzzwords, and yes, politics is very dirty, filthy world. It's awful. But the public's really not going to know how bad it is from either side, because no one wants to talk. And about unity being against cancel culture or freedom, I'm feeling very lost here, because it's hard for me to think like you sometimes. I find it difficult. And it's through conversations like this that we can learn from each other and hopefully have more unity. Concluded.
And yeah, but how can we get to unity when there's a threat out there of political, of economic persecution and physical persecution? You're in Oklahoma. Me being in California is a different. In LA is a far different cry. I know that when I'm speaking and I'm talking, like if I'm talking to a person out on the street, we kind of have to watch what we're saying, because the left is so vindictive and cruel. And I have Dream Master on the line here, who is from the state of Portland, I believe. I could be wrong on that. Dream Master, have you been listening, and do you have any comment?
No, I just dropped in to say hello, Brian. What's going on?
Oh, you're in Canada. Well, hello. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, he is Canadian. I for some reason I thought it was Darren. I don't know why I mixed you two guys up, but thank you for coming in and joining. But I just want to say that, and I'll just add to Political Woodstock, it's very hard to get unity when it's more unity out of fear, and that builds resentment. It is very hard to get to unity when you have threats and punishment if you do not fall in line. And it's not about correction, it's about punishment. And the internet has made this possible. They have promoted cancel culture, and they have promoted censorship. And I think, again, these groups are a threat not only to America, but to the civilized world. And the civilized world should economically hold these groups accountable because, again, I consider them a threat. Political Woodstock, a concluded political Woodstock.
Well, Dream Masters from Canada, and I'm wondering what it's like in other countries. Are they having the same disparities that we are experiencing in the United States? So I hope you don't mind me bouncing a question to Dream Master, but what's it like in Canada?
Politically wise, like,
Yes. Are you dealing with the same problems or similar problems that we are in the States?
well, you guys got, okay, the way we see it as Canadian, I can't speak for all Canadians, is where that you guys are all at the brink of civil war. You're decisive, you're divided. And in Canada, we got a prime minister. A lot of people I'd be argumented on this. Prime Minister Trudeau, which doesn't do fuck all really, and he's a puppet. And yeah, we got our own issues. American policies and government and all the riots and all the disruption and everything that's going on down there. Yeah, it's not in our backyard. We don't care. Like for the most part, because this pandemic and everything like that, we shut our borders down. Well, supposed to have, blah blah. Yeah, that's in your backyard, not ours. So does that answer your question?
Well, I guess I should have been a little bit more specific. Do you have these extremist groups, which I know you're familiar with some of the ones that we have in the States,
Yeah,
like the QAnon and
Antifa,
yes. Do you
Proud
have them?
Boys. No, we don't have those things here.
I wonder about other countries, Brian. I mean, is anybody close to us?
Antifa and Black Lives Matter are around the world, and
Yeah, we get Black Lives Matter and we have Antifa. They're very they Antifa are cowards. They just ride the backs of other protesters and they don't do anything for themselves. And yeah, Black Lives Matter. We have movements up here, but they're very civil, okay, if you want to call it that, compared to what us Canadians see on American TV. Right. But yeah, it's pretty well, not really noticed. Right. Like we don't have like what is it in Oregon, whatever, they had this state capitol being inundated by protesters for months on end. Nothing like that, man. Nothing. We're polite people.
yeah, and I want to say that I've noticed, like I said, BLM and Antifa are both, they're around the world, and they are particularly in the Anglo sphere. So they're in Canada, they're in England, and they did a lot of damage in England, from my understanding. And it's like the minorities in England came by choice, and England, unlike America, and I would say probably even unlike Canada, is a nation that is based on ethnicity, and they're allowing groups to come in, and then they're claiming victimhood and tearing down and rioting in their government. It seems very disrespectful to a nation that lets them in, and they're not even seeing that a nation like Japan would never tolerate anything like that. So I wonder what your response is to that, Angela.
Well, Japan, their emperor was their god. I mean, that's a completely different
I'm
culture.
talking about Japan today.
Oh, Japan today. Well, over in Japan, their prime minister is, oh gosh, what's his name? he was very much, or he is very much like Obama was. There was a lot of comparisons. And they do have different factions. The millennials over in Japan are becoming more vocal. I'm sorry, I don't know their names, the names of the groups, but they do have some political activism.
Oh, look at
So,
Hong Kong, man. Hey, the
yeah.
Chinese are locking up people in Hong Kong, right? God's sake. Yeah, that's political groups. Bullshit.
And they don't have a lot of room over there. We have all this acres and acres and hectares, and they have a small confined area.
So does
So
England.
maybe, well, England's got quite a bit of it's roomier than Japan, I would say. A lot roomier and a lot more safe. They don't have a nuclear base that was on the water, and they didn't have a meltdown. They're not in an earthquake prone zone. Japan has a lot of issues. I guess we all do. It's how we handle them
Right.
that
How about
makes it different.
sorry to get off topic here a little bit. How about China? They got a lot of issues. They're doing a genocide against some kind of group, Islam group or something within the country, and they want to host the Olympics coming up. Like I already hear about boycotts happening. Countries are going to boycott. What's your feeling on that, Brian? Like,
I feel that China is an extreme threat. I mean, unfortunately, I don't know if we can completely get rid of them, but they are a threat. And leftism is not seeing that as a threat. That is, hey, can you do me a favor when you're not talking, Dream Master? Can you put yourself on mute because the sound comes in better?
oh, sorry. Okay.
Thank you. Sorry about that. That's no biggie. But I wanted to add, by the way, and I don't know if this is, but there seems to be limited gratitude with the left with regards to immigration, and just a realization that other nations do not allow other groups to come in, and they do not allow, and they would never allow the kind of disrespect that is done in other nations. I would say Japan and England. I mean, England has a very a rather liberal policy as far as immigration is concerned, and they allow other groups that are not their ethnicity, where Japan does not, and they don't. The people there don't even see it and don't even recognize the fact that that happens, and that does kind of upset me because I think I think if you go to a country, you should accept their culture and accept their customs, and you should never be a burden. And if you are a burden, that's very disgraceful. Political Woodstock, what say you?
Well, about the UK, they've been taken over many, many times. The origin of my father's family helped conquer them back with William the Conqueror. They were with that group. I don't know. Yeah, and they had slavery, and not everybody was there because of their own choice. Yeah, and human trafficking is a problem worldwide, still an issue. But, if you're upset with America, Brian, maybe you should go back to your home country, if you know what it is.
Well, I don't have a home country, and of course, you know what I've often thought about. I do want to go into a country with that speaks English. So within the Anglo sphere, I'd want to go because I like communicating with people. But I don't know what country that is that hasn't been taken over by leftism, and leftism seems to have taken over the Anglo sphere. So that's my big problem with leftism. Its claws, its reach has infiltrated so much that there's no getting away from it. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I observe. And I just my belief is that the Democratic Party is the party of the left, and that Biden is a puppet of the leftists. Do you have any response to that?
He's most certainly is not a puppet. He's been in politics a long time, not to just give over control of his person to someone else. And I think Norway might be a good country. Trump seemed to like it a lot. I believe it's Norway. They have a certain type of socialism, and they make money through investing in the stock market. The government does that is. Maybe you look at Norway. They do speak quite a bit of English there. I was raised up in oil, and we had a lot of bases there. The company my father worked with, and maybe that one. Because things are becoming very volatile, especially if you're a conservative. And I could understand why they would want to leave the country. And but not everybody can. Not everybody can leave. But
what do you think of a split? The nation, like kind of making America kind of like the UN, where we have different nation states. Because again, we don't really agree on things, and if there isn't a shared reality, do you think maybe a good thing is a just a split of the nation, not necessarily where it's where it's like the the way the South did it, but something more akin to the UN as nation states, and they can have different immigration laws, different laws that they allow and that we don't allow. Do you think that might be a good idea? A split?
well, there is a man by the name of Billy Roper, and he wants his own little subcountry for white people called Ozarkia, partially in Missouri and Arkansas would be the confines. I forget the boundaries, but I remember those two states being a part of it. I don't see that going well. I don't. My goodness.
Well, I don't want.
When we tried it before, and that didn't work out well. It was a civil war. As Dennis said earlier, you're on the verge of civil war, and I think he's right. The theater is being set up for a civil war. So how do we survive as a nation? Are my thoughts.
I'm not really sure, but I guess my question would be: now, I would never want an ethno state. I would want, for me, I would prefer a more constitutional state that's based on liberty, not on equality, and more of an ideological place than we have now. And again, I want a place that has a shared reality, and the left does not share my reality at all. And they don't want to talk about, many of them do not want to talk about it. They want to primarily shut down discussion, and they want to control the discussion and the words if they allow you to do so. And that I find very objectionable. Right now we're having to control our breath. I have to wear a mask when I walk outside. And now I have to control my voice and my speech. And I find that extraordinarily oppressive as a person who likes to talk to people and likes conversing with people. And I like conversing with people online. And I cannot do that under these circumstances. Do you have a response to that?
Well,
Political Woodstock, you're not coming in. I don't know. I don't know how what's going on with your voice or your God. I can't even hold the words here. I don't necessarily know what's coming on with your sound, but your sound is not coming through. Sorry, guys, I lost the word. Lost the word there. I got kind of Biden-y. you know the thing. So sorry about that. I'm going to go on mute and see if Political Woodstock has a a response to what I said. Well, I guess Political Woodstock has left. She may come back. This is one of the things about this new technology. They haven't. There are times when things are basically dropped. So that is a thing with technology that there are dropped calls. And she is part of the Democratic Party, but she is a. Wait, you know what? Let's go back.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Now, I just want to say that Biden, by the way, one of the reasons I think he's a puppet to the left is all of the executive orders that he signed, including one regarding critical race theory, which, I know a few things about it, but, the things.
Wait. What was the critical race one? I missed that one.
Well, Trump got an executive order to get rid of much of critical race theory, and the critical race theory that he felt was basically detrimental to whites. That said all whites were racist. So Trump wanted to get rid of that, and Biden re-signed that order to get back critical race theory. And the thing is, with this critical race theory, it seems like there is no discussion on modifying the critical race theory in this country. It's all about, it's all one direction and one way. And it's do it my way or get punished. I'm concluded. Do you have a response?
Well, in the state of Arkansas, they have House Bill 1218. I think it's 1218. And it gives the schools freedom to not teach, say, racial justice and different curriculums to even the history of African Americans in the state of Arkansas or nationally. There are some states taking up that gauntlet, to restrict education. I look at it as restricting education, but every community has the right to go to their school board and ask for a curriculum that they think is appropriate for their local school. So we still have some freedoms. And I think critical race theory is more complicated. That would be a great series of shows. I'm sure we could find people that you could talk to about it. What say you?
From my understanding, critical race theory is a very toxic. It seems like a very toxic curriculum for the most part. There are parts that are true, but for the most part, it's a put down of our country, and it's a put down of people of European descent, and it's a little bit. It seems to be somewhat on the myopic side of things. History is very complex and complicated, and I don't think that critical race theory does that. So that's my kind of response to that, and I think there should be an open debate on that, and there wasn't. It was just Biden signing an executive order without discussion, and that I am against. I'm concluded.
My understanding of the executive orders that Biden has signed or created, they had a panel of people discussing different policy issues that he had input from people that were well educated in these areas from both sides. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see what comes. You can make an executive order, but unless you get legislation passed, it will not stay. Just as we saw with Trump with all his executive orders, they did not stay. So anything that he signs that's not backed up by legislation will go the way of Trump's executive orders. It's going to go back and forth like a ping pong tournament, when it comes to our country with these executive orders. And I don't think that is good for our economy.
Well, I would I guess I would kind of agree with you. I just think that before he signs something like that, he should be open to the public and say, particularly something like that is that contentious. He was not very forthcoming in saying why he was doing it and having open debate. And I just want to ask you, what do you think? What is your opinion on the social media and censorship?
Well, if you own your social media, like Twitter, you own Twitter, you can set the boundaries. This will be tolerated, that won't. We don't have a right really to social media unless we create it ourselves, which some people have tried. So I think it's awful what has happened with cancel culture. It's terrible, but unless they have legislation to regulate the media, and maybe that's what needs to be done, we're going to see the same results of the cancel culture, which I'm not in favor of, by the way. And I am hungry. Oh my goodness. I think stew sounds really good right now. What about you?
I am. This is my third day of fasting, and yes, I do get hungry. The hunger pains come and they go, but I just wanted to say that because a lot of these social media companies are saying that they're doing it for protection, but the thing of it is these social media companies, these other leftist terrorist groups joined online, and they took advantage online on Twitter and on Facebook, and they're only going after one direction. And it seems like the government, I think, can step in if they consider them to be a threat, and they are basically against, they're not promoting cohesion. They are promoting division, and they're promoting, in my opinion, fear and punishment. And that is a bad precedent. And I think that the government can step in if it considers it a threat, just as they did in the film industry. They pressured the film industry not to promote communism. I think leftism is just as big of a threat, if not a bigger threat, today, because they've shown themselves to be very authoritarian. And even France and other countries are considering the kind of woke leftism that we see in these social media companies to be a huge threat. And to me, I think it might be a good idea for people around the world to stand up against these social media companies and their woke leftism. I'll conclude with you, and then I'll end it up with. I'm going to end it with. I'll just end the show with a little bit of a monologue. So let's go with you and your response.
Well, the left is not this big bad monster that people assume it is. There's people of extremes, and I kind of put you in that category, because I understand where you live and that you have a different type of, like, your language is different than, say, some of the people that lean left in your area. I'm in the direct opposite. Everybody's conservative here. But I don't think the left is the big bad problem. I think revolution's going to be a problem. This duality of differences that is exploding. And I have a lot of deep concerns. And I don't think the left should be one of the big concerns. And I don't think the right should be one of the concerns. What I think the concern is how the information is presented. Information, data. But then when someone puts their perspective on it, it can become a rainbow or it can become a living hell, depending on who's presenting the information. So I think we have a lot of work to do. I have some work to get you to register as a Democrat. I know this, but I accept the challenge. One day, Brian will be a Democrat. What say you?
You know what? I want to get your opinion on Tulsi Gabbard. she seems like she could be a Republican or a Democrat, and she seems very open-minded. What is your opinion of her? And then I'll wrap it up.
Okay. Well, Tulsi, I think, is a conservative liberal like myself. Now, I am pro-life, but I'm not going to push my belief system on someone else because I do believe in freedom. I'm sorry, I'm getting a call.
Well, you know what? I think at this time, unfortunately, we will wrap it up. This will not be the last time. This is not the first time Political Woodstock and I have met, but you know what? This is a first beginning to a respectful dialogue, mostly respectful dialogue, hopefully. And Political Woodstock, Angela always goes and obeys the rules about no profanity. Profanity has become kind of a whatchamacallit, just
Unprofessional.
unprofessional. Yes. Now you know what? Since you are now back on the air, do you want to after your call? Do you want to say a few things and then I'll wrap it up before about Tulsi Gabbard? You had a
Well, she's a conservative liberal like myself. As I said before, I'm a good example is I'm pro-life, but I'm not going to push my belief system on someone else, which probably sounds like an oxymoron, but it is what it is. And my final thoughts are we really need to watch the impeachment proceeding today. I would love to talk about it tonight. I think the attorneys for Trump are going to give us so much entertainment, but this is not a laughing matter, and I should not be talking about it so lightly. I think some Republicans will vote in favor to impeach the president, especially with March 6th coming up. So I want to leave that thought with people to watch the proceedings because knowing what's going on in your government will only improve your quality of life. Knowledge is power. Thank you for having me on.
Well, I thank you for being on, and this is the thing where politeness can be. Yes, the impeachment trial is here, and there is a lot of emotional rhetoric on both sides. And even from myself, I strive for stoic calm, but I don't always get there. But it's people that help you improve your stoicism and your thought. And Angela certainly helped me get there today. So I really thank her for coming along and giving interesting conversations and interesting insight. Again, Angela and I are in different states, which could almost be different countries with regards to their values and things like that. So it is something to behold, and it's something to have. And the first way we get to some form of unity is a shared reality. And we can only get to a shared reality through conversation, not censorship and not punishment. So I would love the information age, to be the true information age, and that we get to some kind of unity together and have just a talk out. No violence, no shouting, and no arguing, just like Angela and I had today. So I thank you for listening. Like and subscribe, and also share this video wherever you can, because of course YouTube doesn't like independent creators anymore unless they're part of their club. So like and subscribe and share this video. I'm also on Minds. I would like people to join Minds and other alternatives to different social media. So join Minds, join BitChute and Rumble. Minds I work a little bit better than BitChute or Rumble, but I'm on both of those. But I would like you to follow me on Minds, and also go to our site, the Organization of Transparency and Merit.com. I think I've said it everything else. So I wish you all the best, and always strive for calm, stoic calm. Thank you for listening.